At the beginning of last year, I made a video about how I felt that Flesh and Blood was about to enter a golden era, starting with heavy hitters. Both 2022 and 2023 were somewhat low points for the game, but 2024 did indeed prove to be one hell of a comeback. And now that we're in 2025, things are looking even better because with just a single keynote presentation, LSS showed us such a huge glimpse into the future that it's really hard not to feel like we're heading into an even more exciting era for the game in pretty much all aspects. Now, I'm not going to go through and read absolutely everything in the keynote presentation, instead focusing on what I feel are the key parts that really make it feel like Flesh and Blood is truly going from just your niche, tough to get into competitive TCG and becoming, for lack of a better way to say it, one of the big boys. Starting off are all the different armory decks we're getting with the introduction of CC and Blitz hybrid decks, as well as the brand new Living Legends decks. Oh my God, dude, yes! This is a great way to get people to try out that format, and they're only at conventions. Never mind. But seriously though, the fact that LSS is now offering different types of armory decks is actually pretty huge because these are truly the best product this game has, despite the flaws that I've criticized in the past. I don't know about any of you, but it has been way easier to get new people into the game when you can just point to one of these and go, buy it. But while the CC and the hybrid decks are obviously going to be the most common ones, I really do hope that we get more LL decks to actually, buy at our LGS, because I would really love to see that format picking up more steam. I do wonder if they're just testing the waters because they're worried about not enough people being interested, which is fair, but still, I want to see more of these. I genuinely think that LL will be one of the better casual formats long term because it lets people still play their favorite hero even after they leave CC, which is pretty huge for anyone who isn't in the competitive loop. Speaking of casual, we also have Smash Palace, a brand new product that uses Crack, Shuffle, and Play, an event deck, and 7 UPF Guardian heroes to offer a fun, casual multiplayer experience. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I'm like half and half on this personally, but I do think overall this is a huge step up from around the table. On one hand, I don't really care about Crack, Shuffle, and Play, and the heroes are all clearly gimmick heroes, so I can't really see them being too useful outside of this product itself. But what I love is the event deck, counters, and guidebook. The event deck has all sorts of crazy things in it, like the ability to kill someone so you can take an extra turn, and this will definitely be a great way to spice up any multiplayer game, even outside of Smash Palace. As for the counters and guidebook, well, I mean, these are things that I've been begging LSS to include in their products, so I am very happy about this. While I'm not excited to buy this so that I can, take a hero and build a deck for them, I do think that I might try to take this to a family event, or at the very least, maybe I can get my girlfriend to finally try the game. I also like that you can keep reusing it by buying more mastery packs. It helps keep this product from being just a one and done. Overall, I love how nice and professional this product looks, and the extra goodies really do add to the appeal, and it makes it feel like a much better deal than round the table. I mean, come on, I get wanting to include playmats in products, but like, who thought it was a good idea to put one playmat in a product meant for 4 people? The biggest aspect to all these products though is that it does a really good job of filling up the shelves at the LGS with a lot of different options for Flesh and Blood. With so many cool looking heroes in the armory decks and with a really professional looking multiplayer product, it does a lot to make this game feel like less of a niche TCG and more like an actual mainstream contender. I mean, back in the day, it was basically just boxes and the Blitz decks, but now there's so much cool stuff that it makes it so easy for a new player to spot something that appeals to them and immediately draws them in. I really do think that LSS have come a super long way with their packaging and marketing, and it really shows with just how much growth this game has been seeing for a while now. And honestly, I really do think Smash Palace is the best example of this. I mean, look at this. Now look at this. Newer niche TCG, professional mainstream TCG. You see what I mean? It just feels different. It feels like Flesh and Blood is really starting to stand out as an extremely appealing game to more than just the competitive players. But they're also going above and beyond with both their set design and appeal to collectors because holy shit dude, High Seas is going to sell out immediately. Not only does it have all the marvels and legendaries like normal, but we also have treasure packs in each box that can contain other marvels, pirate cold foils, legendaries, and 9 amulets that represent the 9 areas of Wraith and are printed at only 100 copies each, apparently. But oh wait, that's not all. Very clearly inspired by the Zendikar Priceless Treasures, where WotC seeded old and incredibly rare reserved list cards, including the Black Lotus and original Zendikar packs, James White himself has taken a bunch of insanely rare cards from his own personal collection to put in these treasure packs. We are talking cold foil fables and legendaries from the first few sets, all worth thousands by the way, but also insanely rare cards like the Marvel Prism, which only has about 100 copies, and even some prototype Marvel heroes. Like, dude, I don't even think I have to say anything more. Like, this announcement just guaranteed that High Seas will literally not be on shelves like a week after release. This is going to appeal to every Flesh and Blood player, as well as so many people who haven't quite tried the game yet. Like, there has to be tens of thousands of people out there who play other games and they've heard of Flesh and Blood, but they haven't quite had a reason to leave their game for it. But like, now you could buy a box and have a chance to pull cards worth potentially tens of thousands of dollars. I mean, apparently some of these only have 3 copies in existence. Like, that shit is gonna sell for a ton of money.
Only 3 of these exist, by the way. There's only 3 of these that exist, and 2 of them are going to go into the treasure pack, the other one's staying in the archive.
These treasure packs are going to make this set sell like gangbusters, and the pure hype of being able to pull really crazy shit is going to get people outside of the game far more interested. Let's be real, ladies and gentlemen, we all know that all it takes for a lot of people is to just give the game a chance and they're hooked. And with how amazing this set looks so far, there's no way that someone won't buy a box, play a few games, and not fall in love with Flesh and Blood. But before I get to High Seas, because I do think some of these designs also show us entering a new era of the game, I just want to take a moment to point out how actually insane it is that James White, the creator himself, went into his own personal collection to add some of these insanely rare treasure cards. He even signed some of them. Like, I think it's fair to say that this tops the Zendikar Priceless Treasures, which I never thought could be possible for any game. It's just such a Chad move from James that it almost makes me feel bad for using him in the skits in my videos. Almost. Anyways, High Seas, I mean, dude, we're getting a Necromancer. On top of that, this set also feels like a big step up from everything that's come before it, and in a great way. First, I gotta say it, Puffin is the best mechanologist in terms of actually meshing with the rest of Wraith. Let's be real, as cool as it is, Metrix being the super advanced technological wonder just doesn't jive well with the rest of Wraith. I mean, over here you have giant mechs, machine guns, and Iron Man suits. And over here, you've got Shrek's cousin with a stick. But Puffin feels so much more in line with the rest of Wraith, as the whole Golden Cog and Sky Pirate aesthetic feels like it could believably exist in this world. What really stands out though is the best hero in the game, Polycranka. Now, we obviously all bow down before the glory of the bird, but I cannot understate just how important companions and creatures like this are for the game. Now, this was a while ago, and I'm not going to go scour my old comments looking for it, but I remember someone once saying that their biggest issue with this game was how hard it was to really, attach to their cards in the same way they did in a game like Magic. Because most Flesh and Blood cards are just attacks, actions, or some sort of item or equipment, it just doesn't have the same feeling as a card like Spore Frog. I mean, look at him. Look at this little guy. But with the allies and cards like Mirror Guy, this has slowly started to change, where you're having more and more creatures or beings to also identify with. And the introduction of companions is a huge game changer, because they're gonna be on the field a lot more and are an integral part of your deck and strategy. And if you think I'm wrong and this isn't at all important to players, well, even James points out how much the audience is losing it over Polycranka.
And then you have... oh, Polycranka, he be popular.
Of course, the hero that brings the most newness to the game is none other than Gravy Bones, whose name I have really come to love simply because of how much other people hate it. First off, we finally get Necromancer. Oh, I am so excited. If I am blessed enough to get a spoiler card for this set too, I pray that it is a Gravy Bones card. Even if it's just a common, I don't care. Not only do people just love bringing things back from their graveyard, but adding in his ship as his personal felling of the crown is just so cool. You know, between all that and the whole ghost pirate stuff, Gravy Bones is starting to feel a bit like Davy Jones. Oh! Nah, but seriously, Necromancer is such a welcome addition to this game, but what really does it for me is the fact that we also finally get to tap our cards. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that is indeed a tap symbol, made this way to avoid Magic the Gathering's copyright on their symbol. Listen, I know it seems so small, but there's just something so satisfying about tapping your cards. I mean, players already do this when they use their once per turn actions on their equipment and hero, so it just makes sense to add it. But it really does make the cards feel a little bit different than before and just a little more in line with these other bigger games, and I think that this will help Flesh and Blood appeal to more players because it's something that they're already familiar with. And speaking of familiar, these are just full art lands. Like, that's a mountain, that's obviously a plains, and this, well, okay, this one doesn't really work. Like, maybe a swamp because of the yellowish trees and the purple, but aside from that, this is something that I am actually super surprised LSS hasn't done before. These are the new Seismic Surge tokens done up to show how powerful the flow was in Wraith in ancient times. And this is so freaking awesome. I personally love diving headfirst into fantasy worlds, so getting to see what Wraith's actual landscapes used to look like in the ancient times is such a cool thing that makes me love this game so much more. Magic's lands have always been a great way to make each plane feel unique and interesting, so I really hope that LSS can keep using things like full art tokens to showcase more of Wraith than they have in the past. But believe it or not, these tokens aren't even the coolest thing that LSS has shown off here. May I introduce you to beings that I have personally been waiting to see for a long time, the Old Ones. Smelting of the Old Ones, Binding of the Old Ones, and Disenchantment of the Old Ones are three guardian attacks that depict titanic beings being smote with the hammer of Volcor, bound by the chains of Solana, and split by the lightning of Aria. Listen, we have gotten some really cool cards in this game before. Tumulti, the Mecropotent, Prism's Angels, but there has never once been anything quite like the Old Ones. I know that these are actually just guardian attacks, but I mean, look at the art. These things are so unbelievably cool with just such an imposing presence. And I know that I keep comparing this stuff to Magic, but it's because it just does, okay? I mean, look at these and tell me that you don't think of the Eldrazi. Like, come on, this is so obviously LSS going to Magic players and going, oh, hey, you guys really like the Eldrazi, huh? You want them without the SpongeBob? There's something about ancient, gigantic beings that is just so goddamn appealing. I mean, there is a reason stuff like this have existed in stories for all of human existence, but it also serves to deepen both the story itself and fill out the world of Wraith, which, again, I think signals a new era for Flesh and Blood. Don't get me wrong, LSS have been building the story in the world since the very beginning, but everything has always felt a bit scattered. But there's something about seeing the landscapes, the titans, giant pirate ships, and an aerial armada, as well as goblins and a centaur. It all makes the world feel more lived in, and that there's truly a vast story behind this game that we are only just scratching the surface of. For example, remember how I said that 9 treasure packs in High Seas would have 9 amulets to show the 9 regions of Wraith? Well, there's only 8 regions. So now there's just this huge mystery that we've been presented with, which I think is so damn cool. I hope it goes without saying that I am beyond hyped for the future of this game. I'm not certain I've done a great job at putting it into words. I really do feel like these new cards and products coming to the game have made it really suddenly stand out among other TCGs more than it ever has before. I know that there's been a decent amount of people saying that this more League of Legends style of art for the game is off-putting to them as they like the more grounded, gritty art style, but personally, I love bright and vibrant colors. I mean, look at the new Bravo. I love this art so much. I think LSS have gotten really good at their designs in terms of a marketing perspective, and it all really adds up to Flesh and Blood feeling like a true competitor to other bigger games, namely Magic. Plus, I mean, you want to talk about league art and marketing? Take a look at these Singapore hero promos. Let's be real, these are going to be insanely popular. And it's stuff like this that really showcases that LSS have truly hit the ground running, and that Flesh and Blood is starting to become as professional and as expansive as other games. From the card design to the art, marketing, and the collectability, I genuinely do feel like we are leaving the previous golden era and entering the, I guess, the real golden era. I mean, I kind of want to change it and say that the past era was more of a silver era now that we've gotten treasure packs and literal gold, but whatever you want to call it, I do think it's fair to say that Flesh and Blood feels a bit more grown up. Like the company is finally at the capacity to really do all the things they've wanted to do for years, but just didn't have the bandwidth for. And if this is what we're getting at year 5 of the game, I can't wait to see what comes at year 10 and beyond. But that is it for me, and so now I want to know what you guys think. Are you as hyped as I am for this new era of the game, or are there some things you're really not happy with? I think it's fair to say that this is a period of change for Flesh and Blood, so naturally some people aren't going to be as happy with everything, but whatever the case is, let me know how you feel in the comments below. I just wanted to make this video because I was so hyped about all the stuff announced. I actually stopped working on an upcoming IRA video just to make this, so I'm going to wrap this up so I can get back to that. Anyways, Thank you for watching, and thanks to all the patrons. Huge shout out to the Giga Chads Geeks first, Elixir, Vinny, John, Ty, Chemical, Bryant, Dark Memoria, and Big Hungry. Then we've got the Alpha Chads Thomas, Zajima, and Aaron. And then there's the Super Chads Thal, Cece, Ben, Yogbadoodles21, Scott, Kevin, and Wolf Shadowmancer. Thanks again as always. Stay Chadly, my friends.